Welcome to LFFL Primetime, the only show officially licensed by the LFFL and dedicated to the LFFL. Glad you tuned in. Let's get caught up with our action from the last week. And we'll start right here in the granddaddy of them all, the old school league, the original league. Todd, a big win over Eric. Josh, a bigger win over Matt. Andy, the biggest win of the week, and his win over Bill, 190 was the week's high score. Miles beats Phil. Greg beats myself. My loss means for the 32nd consecutive season, there will not be an undefeated team in the LFFL. That is right, 32 seasons. No one has ever managed to run the gauntlet undefeated. With my loss, Todd and Greg pull up. We have a three-way tie for first at 4-1. Andy sitting at 3-2. There are only four teams over 500 in this league, and preview, a little foreshadowing. Those four teams may be playing each other this week. Josh, Bill, Eric, Matt, all at 2-3. Miles and Phil at 1-4. Looking at week 6 action. Todd taking on Greg. Todd has dominated the series at 23-9. However, Greg won the most important game back in 2003 when he won Super Bowl 9 over Todd, led by that Dante Culpepper guy. Bill taking on Josh. Josh, the 18-17 lead in the series, including 4 straight against Bill. Matt taking on Phil. Look at how many games you guys have played. These guys have played 30 more games against each other than Todd and Craig, yet they have never actually met in a Super Bowl, which I find very interesting for two original league members. Phil traditionally has gotten the better of this series 39-23. Eric taking on Miles. Eric the 2-1 lead in this series, and I'm taking on my brother and the other matchup of teams above 500. I have a 15-12 lead in the series, including a win in Super Bowl number 17. LFFL 2, we had some big scores this week. Eric dropped 79 on Miles. Phil dropped 71 on Sean. Merrills, Todd, and Bill, your other winners this week. Eric, Bill, the Merrills, all set 4-1, tied atop. Phil, Miles at 3-2, right behind them a game back. Myself, Todd at 2-3. Andy, Sean, Greg down at 1-4 and looking to get back in the mix. This week, Eric taking on Todd, Bill taking on Greg, the Merrills taking on Miles, Phil taking on Andy, Sean taking on Casey. As you can see here, could potentially have some real separation going on here. Basically, the top half of the standing is taking on the bottom half of the standing. So we could either see a real tightening or a real kind of separation. So be interesting to see this one this week. LFFL 3, Matt Merrill continues to stay undefeated over here. Again, some foreshadowing. He is now the only undefeated team left in any LFFL league this season. Moves to 5-0 with his win over Miles. Phil beats up on Nate. Sean beats Matt Brennan. Bill beats Todd. Andy beats Eric. And for the second straight week, I lose the shootout of the week. Very fun stuff over here. Look at your standings. Matt, 5-0. Bill, Phil, 4-1. Sean, Matt Brennan, 3-2. Greg, after his big win up to 2-3. Miles, 2-3. Eric, 2-3. Andy, 2-3. Nate, 2-3. I dropped to 1-4. Todd, right behind me at 0-5. We have a battle of the Matts coming up this week. Can Matt Brennan and Matt Merrill's undefeated streak? We shall see. Bill taking on Nate, Phil and Todd, Sean and Miles, Greg and Andy, and I take on Eric. Looking at the LFFL4, congratulations are in order to Bill. His 13th career win over here, 175.96 points, followed closely by Eric in second. I take home the bronze medal for the week in third. Look at your Monday Night Football. Bill wins this one as well, 142.32. Nate comes in second. I get third again. How exciting. Todd fourth, and there was a plethora of teams behind that. Looking at Eric, second straight week on the medal stand for him. And looking down at Nate, Nate now has 3 top 2 finishes and 5 showdown games, which is driving his lead right here. Nate, 39, leads the way over here. Todd, 31 in second. Greg is pulled in third at 29 points. LFFL 5 got Greg the 235 to 162 win over Andy. Eric, 229 big points in this one over Todd. Phil also tops the 200 barrier, 168 for Nate. Bill, 167, 155, our closest game of the week over Sean. And finally, I was able to beat Miles. We have a big 3-way tie at the top. Myself, Eric, and Greg. We have Phil at 3-2. Andy, Sean, Todd, and Miles just outside of playoff position at 2-3. Bill and Nate at 1-4 this week. Got Eric taking on Greg, Phil taking on Andy, Bill taking on Miles, Sean taking on Todd, Nate coming to my house. We have the LFFL 6. Andy continues to sit on top of this thing at 3.4. Greg at 5.3. Eric at 5.9. What's driving Andy's lead? It's that he has no stinkers. The way this scoring system works, it's how bad your teams are. If you look at the current leaders, Andy and I both lead 2 different months, and I even have an additional team in second place. The difference is all the rest of my teams are 7th or worse. My other 4 teams are 7th or worst. Every other team Andy has is 7th or better. That's the separation that causes stuff. You just can't have these bad teams in this league that separate you and Andy. Really looking strong to this point. LFFL's 7-year current elimination was Thomas. You can see we have 10 teams still alive. Phil, Miles, Josh, Bill, Jeremy, Matt Merrill, Nate, Andy, Todd, and Matt Brennan. LFFL 8, I continue to lead the way over here with Phil in second, Matt Brennan in third. And LFFL 9, look at your Sweet 16 scores. I am the number one seed. I have a big lead over Andy in the 116 game. The 8-9 game, Nate jumps out to about a 30-point lead over here. The 5-12 game, Bill and Greg in a tight one over here. You know, those 5-12 games are a big upset city in the NCAA bracket, so maybe we'll have one over here. The 4-13 matchup, Phil, your defending champ, had a real rough season. Look at this, coming back, has a nice lead over Jeremy after week 1. Unfortunately, Jeremy is losing in both his matchups. He's also losing the 3-14 matchup to me. Eric is losing to Todd in a potential 6-11 upset over here. 7 seed Nate, a comfortable lead over 10 seed Miles. And number 2 seed Greg puts the high score on the board, beating his brother by a significant amount. Now remember, our Sweet 16 runs week 5 through 7. If your name is Greg, Phil, Bill, you cannot make a roster change. If I did not say your name, you can still make a roster change. I totally forgot about it till the Denver game had started and then realized I probably should make a change. Totally forgot about it. I will be making one this week. If you want to make a change, email, text me, let me know. Finally, I want to talk about Player of the Year real quick. I didn't love the Player of the Year scoring because I think much like the LFFL 6, it was really so dependent on how bad your bad teams were. And I think I want to reward more just how good is the top end of what you're doing. Like if you win 3 leagues and you're last in 3 leagues, that might be more valuable than a person who is middle of the road and everything. So I think what I want to do is I've kind of revamped the kind of scoring system I kind of like. I'm probably going to run it by a few of you just to see if you are all on board with that. And then hopefully I can roll that out in the next few weeks to let you know what that looks like. So all I got for the week. Thanks so much for listening along. Make sure you're getting those DraftKings competitions. Thursday night is up already. And I will send out Sunday as well. And hey, this video is going to Twitter. Hey, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.